The NieR series, a spin-off of the Drakengard franchise, are unlike any other. The series holds a distinct uniqueness to it that allows it to stand out, from its incredible soundtrack to its dark story, memorable characters, and grim atmosphere. Starting with Drakengard in 2003, to NieR Gestalt and NieR Replicant in 2010, to the most recent release, NieR Automata, in 2017, this is my favorite game series and I'm excited to see what Yoko Taro, the director and creator, brings to the future. But I am also very concerned, and worried. The recent annual report from Square Enix gives me this fear. Let me explain. When Drakengard released on September 11, 2003, it sold more than 122,000 copies in its first week of release in Japan, and 241,014 copies by the end of 2003. 7 years later, on April 22, 2010, a spin-off based on the fifth ending of Drakengard, a game called NieR, was released. The game was released in two versions, Gestalt and Replicant. In Gestalt, you play as a 40-year-old middle-aged father. In Replicant, you play as a teenage brother. In Japan, NieR Gestalt sold over 12,500 copies in Japan the week of its release, while Replicant sold over 60,000. Replicant sold over 121,000 copies in Japan by the end of May 2010 and ended the year with over 134,000 copies sold. The sequel to NieR, NieR Automata, released on February 23, 2017 in Japan and sold 198,542 copies in its first week. And by the end of May 2017, it had sold over 1.5 million copies worldwide. And this brings us to now. On September 21st, 2017, it was announced that NieR Automata had surpassed a whopping 2 million units in sales worldwide. In the annual report released by Square Enix on the same day, they of course mentioned NieR Automata. In the report they state that NieR Automata, which we released in February 2017, has proven a global hit far in excess of our expectations. It has not only reminded the world of the high quality of Japanese games, but also demonstrated significant potential for future franchise development. In other words, NieR Automata surpassed the expectations in sales, and Square Enix will be working to build it into a major franchise going forward. The important thing to note, at least for this discussion, is Square Enix making NieR into a major franchise. I've seen many new NieR fans, the ones who have only played NieR Automata, elated hearing this news. And to my surprise, I've seen veteran fans happy hearing this news. This, however, is not a good thing. There are many game franchises where this could be a good thing, something such as Mario, where they can make 20 plus more games without having to worry about connecting a large story together. But NieR isn't one of those kind of franchises. NieR has a complex story which concludes very well with NieR Automata. Imagine if Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince came out, which ultimately sets up for the final book. And before the final book released, it was announced that 10 more Harry Potter books would be released. How would you feel? Upset? Worried? Maybe even angry? Because that's exactly how I feel with this situation with NieR. The story has a beginning and an end. There's only one more new game left that needs to be made, which would tie the NieR games together in a perfect bow. The only thing left for Yoko Taro and his team to do is make a prequel to NieR that takes place between Drakengard's ending E and the events of NieR, which, if you've read Grimoire NieR, you would know this game was centered around the Legion, Red Eye, the Crusades, and the Hamlin organization. And while Grimoire NieR does explain the timeline to give a general gist of what happens in detail, it leaves us with a number of questions that need explaining. NieR spoilers are beyond this point in the video, just warning you in advance. Continuing the story beyond Automata is pretty much impossible and pointless. Humans are dead, aliens are dead, androids are dead, machines are dead, there's literally nothing left on the earth except for a few moose with beards. Anyways, it's true that 9S, 2B, and A2 are still on the earth. However, Yoko Taro doesn't do sequels with the same main cast. Just like how Emil returned in Automata as a side character, instead of being part of the main cast again after the original NieR. So there won't be a NieR Automata 2 with the main cast being 9S, 2B, and A2 again, and so there can't be a sequel due to them being the only thing left on Earth aside from a few animals. I also don't really see the point in a game in between NieR and NieR Automata. Sure, they could make a game on the multiple wars between androids and machines, but what's the point? It would end up just being a filler game because we have no questions in between NieR and NieR Automata, aside from how the humans ended up dying off, but that can be explained simply through an interview or a novel. If Square Enix goes through making NieR into a major franchise, it will most likely end up resulting in the company pushing Yoko Taro beyond his limits. Yoko Taro was pushed through many failed proposals for Drakengard 3 by producer Takamasa Shiba and Square Enix, which led to the end result, a game with poor optimization due to low budget and being an Unreal Engine 3 developed game on a PlayStation 3, inferior storytelling, and almost no plot relation to the rest of the Drakengard series. Drakengard 3 is still a great game though. I really fear they will keep pushing Yoko Taro, making him work to the bone and leaving him feeling burnt out and unhappy with his final product, and or pushing him into making a bunch of NieR games he doesn't want to make, which will end up in him either leaving the company or downright leave the director's chair of the NieR series. The NieR IP is owned by Square Enix, so if Yoko Taro leaves, they will use another director to make games. This director would then desperately try to replicate the works of Yoko Taro to the best of his ability and fail. Drakengard 2 is a perfect example of a Yoko Taro game in the eyes of another director, and we don't talk about Drakengard 2. Yoko Taro is the lifeblood of the Drakengard and NieR series, and him out of the picture would be equivalent to Hideo Kojima's hands off of the Metal Gear series. Which indeed did happen, and now you are currently bearing witness to the aftermath of that, Metal Gear Survive. Without Yoko Taro being fully in control of his series, it may lose the charm we know and love. If you have any additions, please leave them in the comments down below. I'll be making a video hopefully sometime in the near future talking about my hopes and wants for both a NieR Gestalt Replicant remake, as well as the prequel to NieR that I mentioned earlier. Hope you all enjoyed this video. This is Photon, over and out.